So I'm just doing a bit of a video diary of me stripping OO12LJB, and a couple of things. Somebody's had this out before. This is the wheel arch liner, and it should be in one piece. Both of them have come out in two pieces. I've not damaged them, but they've been torn and come out before. So that's somebody, I think, just being lazy and only doing half of it. There's quite a lot of oil down here. There's a seal behind there. We will change that as part of it. Your auxiliary belt is quite cracked. We'll change that, put a new one on. The other thing is there's no screws holding the bumper in here. So there should be screws coming up underneath. They're all missing. Somebody's had this apart in the past and hasn't put it back together in a way which I would like to see. We always put the proper bolts back in, the proper fixes back in wherever we can. So this car's done just shy of 60,000 miles, and we've got a lot of damage up here. So the guide has snapped and there's bits gone down there. And the compression on the car, on number 1 is 30 psi, number 2 60, number 3 70, number 4 30. So very low on one. It should be about 190 or above. Put a drop of oil down the bores and it did increase 40, 90, 65, 65. So I'm not happy with the condition of the valves, clearly. I'm not convinced all of the piston rings are doing their job either. So the car's now in service mode, front end service mode. So I got the front off, drain the aircon, drain the radiator, and now we can start seeing what we're looking at. So now I've got to take off the turbo and the catalytic converter. I'll take the engine mount off, put a jack underneath, support it, take that intake manifold off. We need to take the tensioner out, take the chain out, then I get the head off. Then we can see where we're at with this the damage to the head. Right, we have progressed somewhat now. Our chain is about to come out. Before I show you that, this is some of the chain components, and this is the tensioner, and it's broken into 3 parts. So that you should be able to see the spring. That should be all one piece, really. So that's that. We're going to take the chain out now. So ain't going to happen, is it? Oh, there we go. Need 2 hands for this. So this should come out in one piece, but this is obviously broken, and that would be attached to that. And because the bits from the top of the engine fell down, it wedged this in place. So yeah, a cam chain is well overdue, I'm afraid. It's not on mileage really, it's just on, I guess it's age. Cylinder head is out off the car, so the valves, they don't look damaged. There's no holes, there's no burns, and that's the valves. And the pistons, well, they're carboned up quite badly, but again, there's no damage to them. So we've got to drop the sump now and take the pistons out. Right, so we dropped the sump. This is the sump, and this is the oil pump. It's got bits of plastic in it, which is as expected, really. There's more in there to try and get that out. And then this is the actual sump itself. Having drained the oil, there's quite a lot of oil in there, but you can see those lumps. That's all part of the chain guide. So I'll give it a good clean out. I'm now going to take this off and this baffle off to drop the pistons. And I'm also going to take this cover off here to see what's behind there. I suspect there's more bits of plastic. So this chain drives the oil pump, and this is the rest of the chain guide that's coming out here. Yeah, there's a bit of metal there, which that was blocking the chain coming out. This hasn't helped. Yeah, well, there we go. So these are the bits that I'm pulling out of the sump and the oil pump. And if you look in there, there's another bit of plastic that was wedged up at this corner. So these are your pistons. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is piston number 4. And these rings should turn easily. That's kind of it. It's a bit gritty. There's lots of carbon in there. This one is number 3.
that doesn't move at all. That's not doing its job. Very carboned up. Then number 2, they do move, but I notice on number 2, these 2 gaps here, they are in the same place, which means the compression is not going to work. These need to be 180 degrees out, and actually that top one doesn't move. It should slide easily. Yeah, the bottom one, that kind of moves. And this is number 1. Very stiff again, very carboned up. I think that these should move easily, and those 2 brakes are very similar, close together, aren't they? So they should be opposites. Anyway, so that's your pistons. They'll be cleaned up now. New piston rings. The shell bearings at the bottom, they'll be replaced and put back in after the then we put the reconditioned cylinder head on.
Right, so we have now put the pistons back in, and you can see they're all shiny. The piston ring's new in. These boards have been polished, so the sump's back on. We're now waiting for the cylinder head to come back, reconditioned, and then the car can be built back up again. So making progress. Right, so now we are about to put the cylinder head back on. This has been away. You can see it's all clean now. All the ports have been cleaned out, the valves have been reset. So this has been reconditioned. So this is now going to go back on the car. And then the chain will go back on, and we'll build the engine back up, and we should be in a good place then with getting the car running. Right, so here we are. The car is now, well, it's not completely back together, but it's back together enough to start it. So let's give it a go. Jake. That sounds all right. There you go.